What if the universe you experience is not the universe as it is? What if the world you call real is actually a human version of reality, filtered through your senses, through your nervous system, through your language, through your memories, and through your conditioning, and, of course, your state of consciousness? We look at the sky and say, that is the universe. We look at a rock and say, that is matter. We look at a body and say, this is me. But the ancient Vedic sages would ask a deeper question. Who is the one to whom all of this appears? What is that? Most of us live inside an assumption so basic that we rarely question it. The assumption is called naive realism. Naive realism is the belief that the world is exactly as it appears to us, that what we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell is reality itself. A tree is just a tree. A rock is just a rock. The body is just the body. The universe is simply out there, independent of consciousness, waiting to be observed. But the Vedic tradition challenges this assumption at its root. The sages of the Upanishads did not say that consciousness is inside the universe. They said the universe is appearing inside consciousness. This is a radical reversal. Modern culture usually begins with matter. Matter somehow produces life. Life somehow produces mind. Mind somehow produces consciousness. But Vedanta begins with consciousness. Consciousness is not a byproduct of the brain. Consciousness is the field in which the brain, the body, the senses, and the world are known. Without consciousness, there is no experience of a brain. Without consciousness, there is no experience of a body. Without consciousness, there is no experience of space and time, matter, energy, galaxies, stars, planets, microbes, plants, animals, or other human beings, including yourself. This does not mean that your personal mind invents the universe. It does not mean that the ego creates the stars. That would be called solipsism. It means something much deeper. The universe we know is always a universe disclosed through consciousness. A human being does not experience reality as it is in itself. A human being experiences a human universe. But even that statement must be understood very carefully. When we say that a bee experiences a bee universe or a dolphin experiences a dolphin universe, we are still speaking as human beings. We are using human language, human concepts, human science, human inference. We are not claiming to possess the inner world of a bee. We are not claiming to know exactly what it is like to be a dolphin. Even the phrase bee universe is a human idea. Even the phrase dolphin universe is a human idea. And yes, even the phrase human universe is also a human idea. So why use these examples at all? Because they help loosen the grip of naive realism. They remind us that what we call the world is not simply reality, naked and independent of perception. It is reality as disclosed through a particular mode of knowing. A flower does not appear in the same way to a bee as it appears to a human eye. A soundscape does not appear in the same way to a dolphin as it appears to the human ear. A world organized by scent is not the same as a world organized by sight. A world organized by vibration is not the same as a world organized by language. But we must be humble. All of this is still our description. It is a human way of pointing beyond the human assumption that our perception is final. The point is not that we know the bee's world. The point is that we do not even know the world apart from the structures through which it is known. This is the deeper insight. What we call world is always world as known, world as perceived, world as conceived, world as named, world as measured, world as experienced. For a human being, the world appears through human senses, human nervous system, human memory, human culture, human science, and human language. Science extends our senses through telescopes, microscopes, mathematics, and instruments. But even these instruments are interpreted through human consciousness. So, the universe of galaxies, atoms, quantum fields, microbes, minerals, rocks, plants, animals, and stars is still the universe as disclosed to human knowing. This does not mean the universe is fake. In some sense it is. It does not mean that nothing exists. Actually, no thing exists. It does not mean we are trapped in a private fantasy. It means that the universe we know is inseparable from the consciousness in which it is known. Vedanta uses this insight not to create another belief system, but to invite inquiry. What is the status of the world as it appears? What is the status of the body? What is the status of thought? What is the status of the one who says, I am experiencing the world? Vedanta would say all of this is Nam Rupa, name and form. The rock is name and form. The tree is name and form. The body is name and form. The galaxy is name and form. The idea of a human universe is name and form. The idea of a bee universe is name and form. The idea of a dolphin universe is name and form. Even the idea of the universe is name and form. Name and form are not nothing. They appear. They function. They matter at the level of experience, but they're not ultimately separate realities. Their deeper reality is Brahman. Pure being, pure consciousness, pure existence. The Upanishads declare, and these are some of my favorite phrases, Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All this is Brahman. Not some things, not only sacred things, all this, even the profane. Minerals, rocks, microbes, plants, animals, galaxies, the entire cosmos, pleasure, pain, suffering, happiness. All these are appearances, expressions or manifestations of one indivisible reality. But because consciousness identifies with the body-mind, it experiences separation. It says, I am here and the world is over there. I am the subject, everything else is the object. I am a separate person looking out at an external universe. This is the beginning of what in Sanskrit is called avidya, ignorance. Not ignorance as stupidity, but ignorance as misidentification. The self, which is infinite, identifies with a finite body. The seer becomes fascinated by the scenery. Consciousness forgets itself in its own projection. That is why the Vedic sages use the metaphor, the famous metaphor of rope and snake. In dim light, you see a rope and mistake it for a snake. The snake appears, the fear appears, the racing heart appears. The experience is real as experience, but the snake is not ultimately real. When knowledge dawns, you do not destroy the snake, you simply recognize that it was rope all along. In the same way, Vedanta does not ask us to deny the world. It asks us to see through our mistaken interpretation of the world. The world appears, the body appears, thoughts appear, emotions appear, space and time appear. But what is the substratum? What is the rope behind the snake? The answer, of course, is consciousness. Not consciousness as a thought, not consciousness as a mood, not consciousness as a private psychological state. Consciousness as the light of knowing itself. The ever-present awareness in which every perception, sensation, thought, memory, and universe arises. Naive realism says the world is exactly as it appears. Vedanta says the world appears according to the mode of perception, but its ultimate nature is not separate from consciousness. Science in its own way has also begun to loosen naive realism. Color is not simply out there. Color is a relationship between light, the eye, the nervous system, and awareness. Sound is simply not out there. Sound is vibration interpreted by a nervous system. Solidity is not what it appears to be. Time is not absolute. Space is not the empty container we once imagined. Even the act of observation is not as passive as common sense assumes. The observer is not outside the universe. The observer is part of the phenomenon being observed. Vedanta goes even further. It says the ultimate observer is not the body, not the mind, not the personality, not the ego. The ultimate observer is Atman, the witnessing self. And Atman is Brahman. The consciousness by which you know your own thoughts is not separate from the consciousness in which the cosmos appears. This is not a belief to be accepted blindly. It is an invitation to inquiry. Right now, notice your experience. There are sounds, there are sensations, there may be thoughts, there may be emotions, there's perception of a body, there's the sense of being located somewhere in space. But all of this is known. Now ask, what is it that knows? Can the knower be seen as an object? Can awareness itself be located? Does consciousness have a shape, a color, an age, a gender, a boundary? Everything you perceive changes. The body changes, the mind changes, the world changes. Your beliefs change, hopefully. Your identity changes, hopefully. But the fact of awareness remains. The screen is constant while the movie changes. The ocean remains while different waves rise and fall. The light remains while different images appear. This is the Vedic insight. Reality is not what appears. Reality is that because of which appearance is possible. So yes, the universe we know is the human universe, but even this phrase is only a pointer. The human universe is not the final truth. It is a way of recognizing that the world we know is mediated by human biology, human cognition, human language, and human consciousness. Then Vedanta asks us to go even deeper. Who is the human? What is the mind? What is the body? What is the consciousness in which the human experience appears? At the deepest level, the human being is also an appearance in consciousness. The observer and the observed co-arise. They arise together. The subject and object are two poles of one experience. Human world, bee world, dolphin world, dream world, waking world, and the cosmic world are all names and forms appearing in consciousness. The teaching does not replace naive realism with another concept. It uses concepts to free us from imprisonment in concepts. It points beyond the human universe, beyond the universe, beyond every possible universe, to the consciousness in which all worlds appear. In Advaita Vedanta, Brahman appears as the world through Maya, while never ceasing to be Brahman. In Kashmir Shaivism, Shiva, as pure consciousness, manifests through Shakti as the entire universe, freely becoming the experiencer, the experienced, and the act of experiencing. Either way, the conclusion is the same. You're not a separate mind trapped inside a material universe. You are consciousness temporarily appearing as a human being, looking at a universe that is also consciousness in form. This does not make the world meaningless. It makes the world sacred, holy, whole. A rock is not just a rock. A tree is not just a tree. A galaxy is not just matter. Everything is a name and form of the infinite. Everything is Brahman in disguise. The purpose of spiritual awakening is not to escape the universe. It is to stop misperceiving it, to see the world without the illusion of separateness, to recognize that the light by which you know the cosmos is not other than the light from which the cosmos arises. And then when this recognition deepens, ordinary experience becomes extraordinary. Seeing becomes meditation. Listening becomes prayer. Touch becomes communion. The body becomes a movement of cosmic intelligence. The world becomes a mirror of consciousness. And the ancient declaration becomes living truth. All this is Brahman. All this is consciousness. All this is that. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma Tattvamasi. As we close, take a slow breath, look around you. Notice one object in your environment. A wall, a chair, a tree, a cup, your own hand. Normally the mind says, that is an object and I am the subject. Or that is the object and I am the subject. Now soften the boundary. Notice that the object is appearing in awareness. The body is appearing in awareness. The thought, I am looking, is appearing in awareness. The sense of distance is appearing in awareness. Everything you call world is known in the same field of consciousness. Rest as that field, not reaching, not grasping, not naming, just aware. The world appears, the body appears, thoughts appear, but awareness remains. This awareness is not separate from reality. This awareness is the doorway to reality. And in the deepest understanding, it is reality itself. Naive realism says, I am a person looking at the universe. Vedanta says, I am consciousness and every universe I can name appears in me. Atman is Brahman. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma